Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're here, you want to see what it's like to stay at Kos in Greece, particularly the Sovereign Hotel and all the excursions nearby. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so we were flying out of Manchester Airport, and we were booking into the premium lounge. We pre-booked it into 1903. This is the entrance here. I would recommend it. It was the first time I'd done it, but there was plenty of food and drink, hot and cold food, desserts and different things like that. And so you can book in about, I think, 2 hours before your flight time, roughly. So it's not too bad. So it does get busy at times, and there will be times where obviously people have booked in maybe an hour before yourselves or whatever it may be. So towards the end of your time or halfway through it, it could get a bit quieter, just depending on flights and who else is booked in. But overall, I would say it's good. You can always keep an eye on the flight and then head down to your gate. And that's what we'll do now. Let's get ready to take off and get to Kos. That's us landed at Kos Airport. We were getting in like 1 or so in the morning once we got to the hotel, but when we did, we were greeted with a lovely pizza. We had a fresh pizza ready for us to be heated up, and that's what we had. So it was quite nice to have that, and the staff were very friendly, especially the night staff. And then we obviously were brought down to our room, and this is what we were greeted with. This is our room, lovely, made up, and of course we just kicked back and relaxed and went to sleep. And we had, towards the end of the holiday, the menu cards put in for it to show the full menu that they have. Now they're working on that as far as I'm aware, but this was the next morning then, and I thought I'd just give a quick scan around the room again and then show you out the back of the pool area. So obviously you can stay in the main hotel. We stayed in the apartments which are outside of the hotel along the main pool, towards the back of the main pool, but we had our own private pool area that went between about, I think it was 4 or 5 apartments or so. But there always is times where you're getting it quiet during the day or the morning. You can always have a nice quiet swim. So you can see here, this was the area and this was your view. I definitely think it's worth a trip. It's definitely worth going to Kos, and definitely spend the extra money and get yourselves booked in to the apartments with the private pool. Then I know it says private pool, but it's between a few apartments. But as I say, you always get times where it's nice and quiet because people head out and enjoy themselves and go on different excursions. So that was that. This was the outdoor theatre area on the way back up past the pool area to go up to breakfast. So it was quite enjoyable, I have to say. They have some entertainment on at night, different things, different dancers and that, which we'll show you soon, some traditional Greek dancers. But there was like different nights where they had quizzes and different things like that, and they have different theme nights, especially for food, which was handy. So this was breakfast. So breakfast pretty much stayed the same most days, most mornings anyway. You'll always have desserts, and you'll always have fresh fruit, And yeah, and your cereals and different things, and obviously a cooked breakfast. So there was plenty to choose from. I found the variety of stuff was quite good. The only thing with the lunches and dinners later on was that, from my partner's point of view, she has allergies, like nuts and different things. They had no information about allergies. When you asked them as well, they kind of just panicked and almost like, no, don't eat anything kind of thing, or this and this is okay. But whenever we asked at the reception, they seemed, at least at night as well, they seemed quite confused that, you know, that they couldn't offer anything more in the restaurant in terms of what was easy to use and what wasn't, or what was good to take for anyone who has allergies. So that's the only downside to the hotel at the moment, but we'll touch more on that afterwards. So this was just a wee clip of the dancers for one of the nights. There's different theme nights and different entertainment that'll be on the hotel. And I found it was worth it. It was nice. And of course there's plenty of things to see and do, and there's always a bar open in the evening up until midnight, and then there's obviously one down by the pool from 12 to 6, so that's quite good. And then we'll get ready to see some of the onboard excursions. There's a couple of islands as well as Nisyros, and we'll look at those in a moment. So after having a few drinks at the bar and enjoying a few of the cocktails, we booked in through our rep that was at the hotel. You see the rep there, and normally between a certain hours in the morning at the hotel, and you can book on for excursions. The first one we decided to do was Nisyros. Now, this is the boat we were on, and this is the only thing that I would say about this is they can sometimes bring a car to Nisyros and back and forward. So if you're up top, you're okay, but if you're down below, it's just something to be worried about. They don't really chock the wheels or secure it in any way except for the handbrake. So it's the only downside I would say to what they do, and they could make it a lot more secure and safe, especially for pushchairs and trolleys down below. But that's the only negative I can say about the trip so far on the boat, was that. So we eventually got docked. That was the boat we were on there, the Pirates of the Aegean. That takes you to Nisyros. And then we just waited outside for the group. We have different groups that'll go. You'll have ones for English, ones for different speaking. So if you have a preferred language that you want to go with, your rep will explain that to you. You'll given like a wee earpiece so you can listen as well, which is quite good. So they took us around the island so far, and then give us free time to explore before we were taken up towards the crater. So this was one of the areas that we stopped at, myself and Emma. This was a lovely view here, and this is a nice wee monument, and there's a lovely wee restaurant just behind us there, just here. Nice wee restaurant. If you're going up to the right hand side from where we were, from where you would dock, you'll come across this wee area, and it's definitely worth stopping, especially for a wee bite to eat. You can get lunch here. And then we obviously went back down towards where the bus was, by the boat, and taken up to the crater.
It's 698 meters, yeah? But you have to imagine it was 1,200 meters in height. 40 to 50,000 years ago, we had the first lava eruption in the history of the island. 40 to 50,000 years ago, and 25,000 years ago, we had the most important eruption in the history of the island. 8 billions of volcanic outcrops of rocks were erupted, falling down into 3,000 cubic meters of empty space, collapsing. So the top was rapidly collapsed in the void space after the release of magma, passing through the magmatic chamber of the island. 15,000 years ago, we had the last lava eruption, and this last lava eruption, it was similar to boiling and spilling milk, minor one. After that, lava frozen, petrified itself, stopped growing, and we had the appearances of hydrothermal craters, expecting eruptions with steams and gases, hot water, helping in the decompression of the volcano.
So the volcano's down this way, that's the crater, Stephanos crater. A little cafe here, so you get some refreshments afterwards over Winterhelm. And keep yourself out of the sun. It gets quite warm, especially from May onwards. Approaching 30 degrees today, and it always says about 4 or 5 degrees hotter at the bottom of the volcano. So here we are. Let's go down and see it.
See around the volcano crater? See how the rocks are more yellow there? Yeah. Actually the same. So it's a little bit clear.
Now, the volcanologist is estimated the sticks on the floor, so it's not like walking on the ghost of the earth. You can walk around the sticks, don't jump above the ropes, that's what I mean. It's safe if you walk around the sticks, only. Because one way to go down, one way to come up, it's better not to walk on the edges of the cliff. In some cases, you will find some geysers over there. With deposits of newborn sulfur crystals emitting gases. They are everywhere. Until several years ago, people used to bring raw eggs and they used to crack them over there. Now it is already smelling down there, and it's not allowed by law to bring raw eggs down there. So, one way to go down and one way to come up. Take it easy, you are the first ones to go down, and you push your hands in the toilet before touching your face in case you touch it.
So we're at Stephanos crater, inside the volcano. It is active, but let's say it's active but dormant. So it does obviously smell very strongly of sulfur and methane, which is basically like raw eggs, rotten eggs. But it's not as steep as I thought it would have been going down. One way down and one way up, so they just walk around in the circle and back up again. So that's it. So yeah, so everyone just was down and round in the circle. They say it's about 4 to 5 degrees hotter down in this area than up above, because it's warmer obviously down in the crater. And although it did seem a bit noisy, it does seem a bit noisy at times on the recording. The audio, as if it's very windy, but it's not. There actually was very little wind at all. Just a slight breeze, if that. Now they had this area kind of cordoned off. Obviously it's more to protect us than anything else, but they say about the volcanologists and scientists who would come down and testing and see, there's a lot of times where you'll see the gases come up out of the rocks and the formation's not there. They were keeping those geysers, I think they were called, secure and away from us from poking and prodding at them. But you'll be able to see that in the middle as well. If you're walking around, you'll see that. So I would say just take your time to get down and take your time to get back up again. And if you're lucky as we were to be one of the first groups going down, you'll have plenty of time to get down and around. If you don't want to go down, you'll see up at the top there is a viewing platform that you can just stand up there and view, or you can make the climb down to it. it's not. It can be steep at times. It wasn't too steep for me, but it can be steep if you're heading down. Especially if you maybe have some mobility issues. Just to be careful. I'd say take your time. That's the main thing. So from here, you can see all this gas is coming up there in the steam, but it was definitely worth the trip. Definitely worth the trip. And next we went head up back on the bus and up to the very top area of Nisyros, which was a wee town called Nikia. And here we are here. Now they do go into the detail and the history of it in terms of like all the times where pirates were attacking, and they wanted to build the town up top so that they could see the ships coming in and landing down where you pretty much dock in Nisyros. And they'd done this so that they could force the pirates to come up and try and attack up here. But by that point they were tired from everything they were carrying, and then the villagers here would have actually poured hot water, hot oil and stuff down on top of them, trying to scare them off, which is quite handy. But there's this lovely church here which I wanted to show you, and it's quite a small bit, especially if you're very, very warm. It's nice and cool in here, so I'll shut up now. Let's see. It's nice and cool in here. And it's nice and quiet. The best time to show you around. That's not too bad. It's a lovely church. A lot of history. It's quite warm. It's about 29 degrees today, but it's a Friday. That's back round to where we were. Here we are. Just while we get a chance. So yeah, as I was saying there, it was 29 degrees at this point in May when we went, which meant it was about 34 degrees roughly down at the crater at the time. So in the height of summer they say it can be around 40 degrees roughly in normal temperatures in around Greece. So about 44 to 45 degrees down in the crater. So just to be careful when if you do go to Kos and you're in the middle of summer, just make sure you drink a lot of water and keep yourself protected. Wear a hat always. But I thought this was a lovely wee church. It was nice and cool to get out of the sun. And then there's lovely views up top here at Nisyros, which I'll show you shortly before we head back down again. So hope you're enjoying so far.
Moving around the village by jumping from roof to roof. And they used to get themselves to the highest peak of the village. And you get out, follow the road, the parking space, and they climb up the steps. At the last drop, you need to close them to the road.
So we were back home then, enjoyed the evening after dinner, and then the following day we decided just to kick back and stay around and enjoy a day by the pool. You always need to have a good pool day, I think, on holiday, to listen to some music and read a book and just chill out and talk to people. The pool was lovely, and it was nice. It was actually nice and cold, but there was one couple that just looked at me and Emma, and we just jumped straight in. They're going, they just jumped straight in. But that's the best way. You better just to let yourself adjust to the temperature straight away, and then it's lovely. I had also booked into the massage parlour, and I was due to go this day as well. So I left Emma to sit by the pool, and I went on down to get a nice massage, and this was it here. Lovely area. The prices I tried to zoom in on here, but I don't think you would have seen them, but they're on the website. And say it's a lovely area. And there's an area right here for the pool, a private pool that you can relax and have a wee swim in before you go back up to the main pool area, just as another way of relaxing. This was the massage room, and definitely if you like this kind of thing, it is definitely worth doing on a nice pool relaxing day. So I'll show you a quick sample of one of the lunch services. I say it's all self-service, but this is one of the lunch menus that we had. You'll always have cake, you'll always have fresh fruit and different things like that, as well as some Greek stuff here. The Greek corner is different things you can take, and then obviously your hot food. And don't forget the pizza place at the far side. You can make your own pizzas, you can choose what you want, and the guy, probably the friendliest guy I think that does the pizzas, was definitely, we couldn't recommend him enough to the rest of the staff and the management. So but let me know if you do go, what you think of the food and what you think of the hotel in general.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Looks very nice.
I haven't like a tasting.
Oh yeah. It does. It's very well presented. Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Looks lovely.
So after lunch we decided to go down and check out the beach and just have a wee walk around the area. It was quite nice. It was a wee bit breezy this day, or it did seem it more on the video, but it was a light breeze. It was very nice considering how warm it was. But definitely worth a trip down to the beach to kick back and have a bit of a beach day. Lovely area, lovely views, and of course after this then we went back up to check out dinner. You can see there is excursions down here like water sports and that there. The wee hut you just seen there, it was closed any time we went down, but we did say that to reception and they can tell you times where you can go down and book in for different water sport activities. More information will be seen at reception. And let's head back down to dinner. That's the best part. Pull your own beer.
I like carrot soup. What's over there? Pastries again.
Some pasta dish in this. This, you know, there's always something you'll have or want if you don't want anything else.
That looks like a coleslaw.
I would say it would be the fried little thing in it, mayo.
There's mayo down there. Tomato.
Red cabbage, isn't it? Red cabbage, yeah. Balsamic.
A salad.
What did you have? The Greek salad? With the
So you can either do that or you can make it up yourself. You can literally put what you don't like, because that's what olives in. You can put your tomatoes, your feta cheese, your bruschetta, like Spanish bruschetta, different sauces.
Tabasco sauce. Spinach pie.
Chicken pie. That's a fish.
Cheese and ham pie.
Fish, pork with gums.
What does he have? Pizza? Pick your own pizza. Pick your own pizza. Oh yeah, I'm gonna start with some soup.
And of course, don't forget, if you don't like anything at all there and you don't mind pizzas, you always make your own pizzas. There's various toppings and various things you can do for you. And the other thing we did then is we decided there was a restaurant called the Ormodon, which was in a place called Zia. If you do stay and explore Kos, I would recommend you have to have a day, or at least an evening, where you'll go and see Zia. Your rep can book you on the tour to go and see Zia, and then through the hotel you can book yourself into the Oromodon restaurant here for two reasons. The food is meant to, was at the time I didn't know was meant to be brilliant, and it was. Food was absolutely fantastic, and the views. I had to see the views here at sunset. Now you go up here at about, this was the street view, just heading down towards the restaurant. Different shops and different things, and lovely friendly people as well. So definitely worth the trip. In the restaurant, there's a lovely full menu. It was very well done, and it wasn't that expensive. As say, the hotel can book it for you. We were up here, I think we left the hotel about 4:30 or 5, and we were up here, but it was about 40 minutes journey from the hotel. We stayed in Carmedina, Carmedina. We stayed in on the coast in Kos, so it was about 40 minutes I think drive. Got up here and we were booked in for about 7 o'clock into the restaurant, and then I think you're due back at the bus at about 9, half 9 roughly, but you'll always double check that with the hotel anyway before you go back home again, so just make sure you don't miss the bus. Personally, I think this place speaks for itself, but definitely go and explore it yourself, experience the food, and the sunset is absolutely spectacular. If I go back here, I'll definitely be booking on a trip to Zia and to this restaurant, Ormadon. It was fantastic. Plenty of time to sit back and relax and enjoy a beer and whatever else. And we stayed there as long as we possibly could then before we went down to the bus, so we could experience the sunset in all its glory. It was fantastic. And of course then we decided to book on to a little island tour where you can go on and see the islands around Kos, and we went down then to the boat, and this was the cruise ship called, well, the cruise ship, most of the boats are pirate themed because of obviously pirates were heavy in this area years and years ago, so they do that for you. This boat was called the Byron, and nice staff, nice friendly people, the captain all very friendly, and of course the drinks aren't included, of course, but you know, they're there for you, especially if it's something even just like water to keep yourself cool on a hot day. But of course I went for a bit of water, and then I went for a beer, of course, as you do. If you're on holiday, you have to spoil yourself. So the first island I think we went to was Nisyros, and then Kalymnos.
After our visit to Kalymnos, we had left towards Kos, and we dropped anchor at third island called Pelati. This was the opportunity to swim off the boat. Approximate time of arrival back at Kos is about 5:15. Yeah, just toilets are downstairs to the left-hand side for the boys, on the right-hand side for the girls. Please keep in mind, not to throw anything into the toilet, no papers and stuff, because then everything will be blocked, and that's not nice.
So yeah, you're never far from Turkey. It's literally just across the water. So then we landed in Nisyros, which is a small wee kind of area, wee island. You can go around and see it, have a wee walk around the shops and the wee bars and that there. And there's another wee church down the way and a couple of wee places to see. And then we decided just to take a quick break and stop in that wee restaurant there, the Aphrodite. We didn't get anything to eat, of course, because we were going to get something to eat later on. We just stopped for a wee cheeky old beer. And you can see the boat in the background there. So we went back on board then. I got on board just before we were due to go back on, just so I can have a wee quick look around and scan, just so you can see the boat and the layout. If you're quick, you'll get up here and you'll get one of the sunbeds there once you get on board, obviously at the very start of your trip, and then pretty much everyone just stays where they are on board. So whatever seat you pick, there's chances are that's the seat you'll have throughout the time you're there for that day, before you head back home. But definitely worth it. There's plenty of excursions there to choose from. These are just a few of them to give you a flavour of what Kos is like and the area. And of course, before we headed back to dock, we managed to get an opportunity to kind of jump off the boat. I didn't really do that, but it's an option you have. This was us heading into Kalymnos, which was where we had we were here to have dinner. There's also there's a lot of talk about the sponges. It's a tradition in some of the islands as well that they will I can't explain it very well, but there's a lot of different sponges that were used as a way of making money, obviously, in terms of bringing them to different islands. Not there. There is a talk on it. The girl talks about 10 minutes or so on it. I took a 3-4 minute clip of that to show you here shortly. But the island itself was nice. This was us just docking, and I think we had to be back roughly for around 2:30 or so, which is what Captain Jack down there tells you or shows it you. Nice enough area, and you get enough time to kind of look around, which is good. And then let's say you're back towards this area to go to one of the restaurants to eat then, and you have a choice then of what you're going to eat before you go back on board. And this was us at the sponge shop then, so I'll let you just listen in on the few minute talk that I recorded there before I get back on board. So hopefully this review has helped you at least to give you a flavour what Kos is like, the islands nearby and the people, and what you can expect, especially with a sovereign hotel. So hopefully it has been helpful. Let's listen in.
Well known for the sponge divers island. Before tourism, before everything began in Greece or Kalymnos, with this organism, our ancestors made their living, made a very, very important role for this Greek island. Okay? So, is everybody decided to move a little bit over there, under the fan? And I will tell you a few things. So first of all, welcome to Kalymnos. I'm good in English, that's all I know, and in Greek too. Welcome to Kalymnos, welcome in our sponge workshop. When you hear factories, of course, don't expect something big with machines. Everything concerning sponge fishing, treating, exporting is actually done by hand. As I said in the beginning, sponges, natural sea sponges, played a very important role for this little island. For years and years, men from Kalymnos used to leave the island fishing not only in the Aegean Sea, not only around the island, because people want Kalymnian sponge, not really a Kalymnian sponge. There are sponges from the Greece and Mediterranean, and sponges from the Caribbean Sea, which are not really the same. A sponge is a very, very primitive form of life. Thousands of years, okay, they exist, and before us, the ancient Greeks, the Romans knew about sponges. They used them for cleaning purposes, for personal use, and a lot of other things that now we use the plastic and synthetic sponge. But the Aegean Sea was really rich with sponges. That's why many Greek islands in the past, mainly Kalymnians, did this job and discovered that with this organism, they can make a product and use it. Sponge, that's how they look like in the bottom of the sea. In biology, it's considered an animal, a bit like coral, but a very different family. Of course, they don't move around. They are black because they have a skin that's covering them, and they grow stuck on rocks. The good quality sponges start growing after 20 meters depth. In the sea, in the Mediterranean, there are more than 700 types of sponges, but we only use 4, because the rest we call them wire sponges. They will never turn out soft, squeezy, and elastic things that they cannot be used. When our divers cut them from the rocks, they leave a little part because a new one will start to reform and regrow. They don't grow as slow as coral. You would need about a year and a half to grow into a size like this, which is bigger. This is very dry. Then they take the freshly cut sponges on the boat, and they have to give them a very good wash. They sparkle them actually with their feet because they have something like milk inside. It's a bit of toxic or liquid. So by being pressed and washed, the skin, this black skin also comes off, and brown is the normal color. Normally fishing period is all summer long. In the past, the olden days, not now because they're not allowed, when they left the island and went as far as Egypt, Libya, Tunisia to collect them, they were away for 6, 7, even 8 months. They left in spring and May, and they came back in October or November. because those who spoke about condoms are very good also. So when they bring them back in this color and situation, our work in a factory is to clean them off of the shells, the stones, so we use some solutions, and then we trim them, like Nico is doing, to give it a nicer form. They're very, very big. We cut and make them smaller pieces, excellent for use. Face ladies, the very tiny ones, babies, children, adults, car washing, window cleaning, or whatever you like.
And there you have it. That's a quick review of everything we've done in terms of the excursions, the hotel, and the area around costs, especially places like Zia. We didn't really go into Cost Town too much, although you can do, especially in the city. We've heard of people who have done that and they really enjoyed it, and it's something I would recommend even doing if you get a chance to then. So final conclusions, would I go back? I would, and I'll probably go back maybe sometime with my brothers or something like that, but Emma wouldn't, because just for a couple of reasons. She didn't think that the Sovereign Hotel was quite 4-star standard. I enjoyed it. I had no issues with it. I think it mainly just because of the food and the allergy reasons, things like that. So we did give them enough information there to say about they should try and put up the allergy symbols, or more information in the book that you can put, so they know what's in everything, and to be more helpful for anyone with allergies. So we're hoping that in the near future they do work on that, especially if they're a 4-star hotel. So if you do go there, if you decide, you look at this video and you decide to book a holiday to Kos, and if you particularly go to a Sovereign Hotel, I'd recommend it. I think you'll have a good time. Enjoy the excursions, and if they do change things in terms of the allergy reasons not there and more information, even if you don't have allergies yourself, even just ask or look and see if there is. And if there is, come back in the comments and let me know, just out of curiosity. In the meantime, guys, I'll leave you with a final little look around the pool at the back at night, where I just sit and chilled and just enjoyed the area on the last night. So that's all from me, folks. Hope you enjoyed the review and enjoy your holidays, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.